Hey guys, THUNDERSTUD here, and today we are taking a look at some new vampire support. Now, vampires actually used to be meta way back when. They were never like tier 1 or anything, but they were definitely meta. They used to be pretty good with Queen. Now we have new stuff like Duke, Awakening, and a new Synchro, Crimson Vampire, or Crimson Knight Vampire Braum. We also have his Shadow Vampire, and we also have Vampire Red Baron. So we did get a few new cards of support, but the way vampires work, we don't really need too many copies of any of them. We're really only using one, even of the new super rare Vampire Awakening. Special summon one vampire monster from your deck, destroying the end phase. You can only do this once per turn. Works really well for this boy, because when this card is special summon, you declare one card type, monster, spell, or trap. Your opponent sends one of those to a graveyard, just like a queen. You can only use that once per turn. Cannot be used for Xyz except for a dark Xyz. And when he's normal summon, you get to special summon a dark vampire from your graveyard. So it's a pretty cool little monster. They generally want you to go into your level 5 Xyz. Takes 2 level 5 zombie monsters. Detach one card, target one card in your opponent's graveyard, special summon that target to your side of the field, but only that monster can attack for the rest of the turn, and you can only use this effect once per turn during the standby phase. After this turn, a card you control was destroyed by your opponent's card. You can special summon it from the graveyard in defense. Of course, it wouldn't have any material at that point, so you're not stealing those graveyard monsters, but he brings things back from the graveyard. He's a 2500 on his own. Not too crazy. We don't use them all too often. We can make it. We can make it with things like Shadow Vampire. When this card is normal summon, you can special summon one dark vampire monster from your hand or deck. So you can special summon from your deck. But if you do, only that monster can attack for the rest of the turn, and you can Xyz into this boy. So I wonder how that would work. You would normal summon Shadow Vampire, special summon, let's say, Vampire Duke. Vampire Duke would let them mill a card. If you have Kingdom, that's an instance of destruction. Then you Xyz, but by his effect, only Duke can attack. But now you Xyz in a Braum. Now you use Braum's effect, and now only the monster he brought back can attack. So maybe that would supersede it. But I haven't gotten quite that far into testing. I think that's how it would work. But yeah, so it's a little hard to time Kingdom with a Duke from Awakening, because you need to have one of them ready, but usually they're just from a search. We're just using one of each of our vampire card spells to search. We've peppered in a Dragon's Mirror. It is not searchable, but we get to it pretty often because we mill our deck and search pretty fast with vampires. And then we just use one of the new boys. I've already gone over Duke and Shadow, but now we have Baron. Once per turn, you pay 1,000 life points. Target one monster your opponent controls and one vampire you control. Switch those monsters. At the end of the battle phase, if this card destroyed any monsters by battle, you can special summon them from the graveyard to your field. So, cool little monster. You generally obviously want to give him one of your tiny vampires. So he works because we have tiny vampires. We wouldn't want to give him like one of our bigger monsters. But yeah, so then other than that, it's just the old vampire support that you guys already know, and Vampire Vamp, using her again. She's always been pretty core in vampires mostly. Not when it was meta though, but she's pretty strong. Other than that, all of that's really hard to get for vampires is Gozuki. He's pretty core along with Samurai Skull. But everything else is pretty free-to-play friendly for vampires, I would say. So let me know how you guys are liking vampires again. They're definitely not meta again, not nearly enough to be brought back, but still very fun and free-to-play friendly archetypes. So I hope you guys enjoy, and thanks for watching. Alright, here we are facing a My Valentine. We're going second. She is, in fact, Harpie's hunting ground. Is, in fact, Harpie's. She's gonna set a monster, set a back row. Now we have a Gozuki top deck, very good top deck. Or we would have just had to sit on a familiar and domain normal summon of a Baron, that kind of stuff. Now we special summon Retainer, throwing away Familiar. We got an Awakening. Now we'll throw away that Awakening with the Familiar. Search our Shadow Vampire. Now we play our Domain. He's got a Mystical Space Typhoon our Domain. He could have waited till we lost the life points, but I guess he didn't. We swing over an Oracle. with the Gozuki, so it's good that we spawn with Gozuki first. Then we hit him with Retainer and Vampire for 1700. So, sorry, Retainer Familiar. Here he normal summons a Harpie Lady, has to destroy his field spell. I'll get an Egotist for another Harpie Lady. That's gonna be the slash Harpie Lady. He gets a Feather's Rest, so perfect hand for this guy so far. Gains a return, returns Gozuki to my hand. Draws 2 more, gets another sick hand in an Oracle and a back row to set. So Duel's going really well for a top tier deck right now, and we're gonna bring it to him. So he does trigger our Destiny Draw. It's a good way to start. He gets us Harping Ground back. Destiny Draw, Dragon's Mirror. Here's Gozuki, milled out 1. Throw away the Shadow, bring out the Retainer. Retainer searches Takeover. Set Takeover, now we use Dragon's Mirror. She's going to Cyber Slash. Now we have to do all of this, okay? Fusion summon 1 dragon fusion monster by banishing fusion materials listed from your field or graveyard, so we can't use stuff from the hand. We know as soon as we're gonna use Dragon's Mirror, he's gonna return us. So we needed 2 monsters on the field and we only have 1 monster in the graveyard, so anything less than this, and he would have disrupted our play. That's why we had to do the whole Retainer search for a takeover. None of that really mattered. That was just so our Dragon's Mirror could not be disrupted. He does return our Gozuki, but we still had the Retainer and the Shadow in the grave. And that's the beauty of Nether Soul. He does not destroy you, he makes you 0, lets your token destroy you, and that finishes them off for a nice easy lethal. Great stuff, guys. Alright, here we are facing a Quattro. Going first. He was trying to rank up there, but we're not gonna let that happen. So we're starting with an Awakening, but we already have Duke in our hands. We're gonna set the Awakening, normal summon Gozuki, mill a Retainer. Retainer's gonna throw away our Duke. Special summon himself. We're gonna search our Takeover, and then set the card. So we have Awakening, we have a Takeover. He's gonna try to Galaxy Cyclone, but he aims for the Takeover. So that's perfect for us. Now we have a Vampire Kingdom. If our Duke wasn't in the graveyard, we could have used our Awakening to special summon him, mill, and destroy with a Disrupt. Here our opponent gets to freely make his move though. So in Magnet Doll, Bisque Doll, Zombie Stein, 4,500, pretty big monster, swings at my smallest monster. Take a massive amount of damage, but we're gonna Vampire Awakening. He's gonna negate it though, not a huge problem. And it flips him to defense, so now it's easy picking for our 2 boys. And of course, Destiny Draw is perfect for vampires because you're doing a lot of damage to your own life points. And that 1,000 defense monster is not too scary as he scoops. Great stuff, guys. Alright, here we are facing an Odeon. Going first. No Sleeper Map for a boy. We have a Baron. We have a Samurai Skull and a Familiar. We're gonna normal summon the Samurai Skull. Mill our Retainer. Mill a Familiar. That's not really milling, but throwing them to the graveyard. Bring back our Retainer. Search our Takeover. You really gotta pace yourselves with vampires. Here he tries to Galaxy Cyclone our Takeover. It's no problem as we go Vampire Kingdom. We also get a free special summon of our Familiar that lets us search Shadow Vampire. So we got some good plays after our boy makes his. He is Shiranui playing Squire. So he goes into an immediate Samurai Saga. Swings at our little Retainer, 1,300 damage. That does put us in Destiny Draw range, so we are going to Destiny Draw Gozuki. Play that Gozuki, throw away a Retainer. Now we use Domain. That's going to be Baron. Baron over Samurai Skull. We flip that boy to attack. Now we give him our Familiar. We take his Samurai Saga. All it cost us was 1,000 life points. Here we are gaining all those life points back from Domain. That's the power of Red Baron, guys. Great stuff. Alright, here we are facing a little Yugi. The old school little Yugi. He's rocking 22 cards over there. When any duel you get Dragon Smear in your starting hand, you're probably going to win pretty easy with this deck, honestly, though. So, we get a Retainer. Throw away Familiar. Retainer searches, or we're still going to be able to search, but he's going to Sword Sting our 2 monsters. But guess what? You cannot get rid of Samurai Skull like that. We search our domain. Now that triggers our Samurai Skull, doesn't even mess up the timing, lets us bring out a Kozuki. That's going to let us mill another monster. We're going to mill Duke. Now Familiar's going to throw away the domain. Really shouldn't have thrown away the domain. We should have threw away the Awakening, because then we could have used the domain, normal summoned our Baron. Not that we needed it, as we already have enough monsters for our Necro Dragon. Still have Kingdom. We even have a follow-up Awakening, but nothing we could really do with that. And we just hit him for a nice easy lethal. Great stuff, guys. Alright, here we are facing in a Shizu. We're going second. Let's see what she's got for us. We have Samurai Skull, Dragon's Mirror, and a Retainer. Our opponent just sets a monster, so really we have anything. We have a million ways to beat this guy right now with just his hand. We start with Kozuki, throw away Retainer. Retainer's gonna search a domain. Now Familiar's gonna throw away another Retainer. Search a Duke. Now we're gonna use domain. Normal summon Duke. When Duke's normal summoned, he would special summon from the graveyard, but obviously we don't have room. Now I'm gonna banish 1 monster from the graveyard and from the field. Now we have a massive field. It's just one of the things we could have done. We could have done some Xyz. We could have done different boss monsters. We could have done Red Baron, triggered Destiny Draw. Virtually anything our deck could do, we could have done besides Vampire Vamp and stuff like that. So great stuff, guys. It's just not enough to be meta again. You know, it doesn't add enough immediate destruction. I think that's what they're going for with Awakening and Duke. I think they expect you to have your Kingdom out, then you hit Awakening on Duke. Maybe that can work. Maybe there's something like balance vampires. I don't know. We'll try it out. We're still testing. They're nowhere near meta. Fun new support for a cool archetype, but still in the works. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and thanks for watching.